Hey, this is Ricky from Osiah, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Excellent. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm Bruce.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm Ricky.
Sweet. You're over in the UK?
Yes, indeed. Where are you, my friend?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh my God, what time?
So here it's 4:00.
Oh. Oh, great, sweet. Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No. And I've been doing these since, I don't know, like 10 o'clock this morning. We do like one day a month. Usually I have a partner with me, but she had to bail today. But we do like one day a month and we do a whole bunch. And then I have content for however long I need it.
That's awesome. That's really...
Yeah, it's just
efficient.
easy to schedule that way, so.
No, that's cool. That's very smart. Very nice.
Yeah, we were doing like, whenever we could, but it takes so much time to prep and get everything ready and, get it right. And we just do it once, one day, everybody's ready, everybody's got their mics right, everything is good, and then we just go.
Yeah, I believe I was offered 2 time slots, so I guess that's how you just fit them in on slots, and then you've got, I presume it's a green screen behind you, so there's minimal production.
Minimal production, yeah. And then we just roll. So yeah, it's nice. And then I have content for the next coming week. So it's nice.
Insanely. I love stuff like that. That's great.
So anyway, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And I'm going to say right off the bat, heaviest stuff we've had on the show today, and probably my favorite. I was waiting for this one.
Nice.
Beautiful. Absolutely love it. What has been the response to it so far? I know I've listened to Elder King, and Chronos is coming out. Or Chronos has been...
Last month, yeah.
Last month, yes.
Yeah.
What's been the response to it so far?
It's been good. There was a slight amount of trepidation about it because we were trying some new things. I mean, I'm just like, it's the art, so what will be, and we'll hope that people appreciate it. But between the band, it was kind of like, wonders if there's a bit of a mixed response on things. But everyone's been really, in fact, the most riskiest elements of the EP have been some of the most favored, so it's worked out great. Yeah, so for us, it's give us that sort of boost of being like, hey guys, just be creative. And then
you guys all write together, or is it more the efforts of one particular member?
No, Keeping and Andy, the guitarists, they basically just write a song themselves, pretty much. And then if there's any elements where we're kind of like got a bit of a creative block or something, we'll jump in the WhatsApp groups and stuff and just be like, hey, anyone got any ideas for this? And then we'll back and forth and then get through it. And then once we have a full song complete, then I can just sit down and smash through the lyrics and stuff like that. Previously, I used to write a lot more the instrumental side of things, but them guys have got it absolutely covered. So I can just the lyrics. It's great because now I can just proper focus on that craft. And predominantly, I started this musical journey of mine as a guitarist. So having that responsibility now, hung up the guitar, I can now fully learn the craft of being a vocalist, and I love it. It's a very expressive instrument, the old death metal vocals.
Oh yeah, I mean, and there's varying styles, right? I mean, you could get like cattle decapitation, like Travis, or even like Loner Shore or something, right?
There's some of them guys there, yeah.
Or even like Loner Shore, which is heavy as hell, and I don't remember what his name is, but boy, does he have a heavy as hell.
Yeah, the best, probably, it's the king.
That record that they put out last year was probably some of the heaviest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I still need to check it out fully, but it's on the list. You know what I mean? I don't really listen to much metal, but when I
really?
Yeah. It's just.
So what do you listen to in your spare time then?
I love lo-fi, chill music. I like rap. Ambient music, lots of like dreamscape stuffs and stuff like that. Just gentle tones and stuff in the background and stuff like that. And then when I get to do my writing, I just get to unleash the beast free of.
So if that's the case, then do you feel like it's completely cathartic doing that sort of thing? Like
absolutely.
All that shit out?
Yeah, absolutely. My general persona has always been quite positive, and the death metal side of things just lets me take all these irks and little things that I may have creeping around in there, and then put them on a track, you know what I mean?
Right.
And just let it all out. Usually when I'm in recording process, I like to just be left alone for a little bit, and then I just dive into like the darkest places of what's in there, and then come out with a song, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
how I
like
do
that
it.
for, the listener too. I'm not a vocalist or musician, but as a listener, I listen to the heavier stuff, and it's, like that as well. It gets you through those times, and, not only identifying with what you're going
So
through, but
cathartic, yeah.
yes, that's the best word for it.
The vocals as an instrument is so interesting. I rarely have an opportunity to talk about it from this perspective, but the guys would be on stage if we're doing like a heavier section of a song, and if it's a large stage and it's got all the bass spins and stuff like that around you, and the band hits in and you let out a roar, and you feel the ground vibrating around you, and
the
you
venue,
feel, and there's movement in front of you and people going crazy and stuff like that. And because it's such like using the air of your body to project this energy, and you feel the blood in your body like reacting to this thing. And as a guitarist, I was really into blues and stuff, but as a guitarist, I was really into blues and stuff, and there was such an expressive element to how you played with the fingers, and I think turning into a vocalist allowed me to develop it to the whole body. I think it's so.
Do you have any
cathartic.
professional training, or is it just
No, I mean, no. I studied at college and university and stuff like that, and they run you through choir and stuff. So you learn fundamentals, and I did a lot.
You're not learning that growl in choir.
No. I mean,
that'd be an interesting choir.
I mean, in some sense, maybe yes as well. Universities and stuff like that really give you an opportunity to learn how to learn, I think, and especially with all vocal styles, it can be kind of correlated. Like, there's like the low range of opera singing is quite similar to how you would physically produce like a low guttural. So you can kind of correlate the elements of both, I guess. And yeah, but no, the all I had growing up was the end of screaming, and which that's all we had growing up with learning how to do metal vocals. All
right, so tell me the truth though. You're a screamer, you're that guy. What does your family or do your friends even understand what you do, or do they still question your choices?
My preferred response to being, this could sound bad, but I don't quite consider myself as a death metal vocalist, but as like a death metal singer. So I try to keep as much like diction in the lyrics as possible, and try to have melodies and hooks and choruses and stuff like, you would song structures that you would have in a Whitesnake song and stuff like that. But there is a lot of people who don't listen to metal, and they just hear the energy and they just don't hear the words.
Don't get it.
It's quite, but it could be the same with people who listen to rap. You know what I mean? When rappers go to a certain speed, or like opera, they're like, what are they even saying? And it's like, unless you're part of perhaps the culture.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but I'm surrounded by a lot of supportive people, I guess. So I'm quite lucky in that.
So since you're the vocalist and you're the primary lyric writer anyway, is there something you want your fans to take away from after listening to an Osiah record or song, or even, Elder King? We could be even more specific. I want to do it.
Osiah typically writes from two fundamentals. One is nerdy stuff. So Elder King was based on Tolkien. Golden Throne from the same record as Warhammer and stuff like that. But we also, there's a ton of mental health stuff in there. So like, for example, on Chronos, 3 songs were about mental health and 2 of them were just about fun stuff. And I guess that's who we are as a band as well. It's like really serious, and we really want to be helping people and doing serious stuff, but we also want to be having fun at the same time.
Sure.
We'll like listen to our riffs and they'll hit into a heavy breakdown and we'll laugh.
Right.
We'll be like, that's funny, that's heavy. And
I think it's interesting when we talk about mental health on the show a lot, and I've even done a film called Mental Health, where we spoke with metal
Nice.
musicians and how they've dealt with it and that sort of thing. It really takes a deep dive. But so we talk about it a lot on the show, and I think it's really interesting that people from the outside wouldn't get it, but it really is therapeutic and cathartic. And I think there is something there.
Certainly,
Especially
in our culture,
in these times, yeah, right. I mean, the last couple of years are so fucked up that it's part of it, and it's helpful.
It is very interesting because, like I say, I listen to a lot of like lo-fi and a lot of rap, and you don't really touch on much of this in rap. There's stuff that I listen to, it doesn't really talk about that much, and you do get the occasional song that comes out and is quite inspiring, and like lo-fi is quite like whimsical. It's about like pondering on the good times and and then metal, the most aggressive style, is just this cathartic push of like one, and you see it at shows, like people are so supportive of each other in the environment, especially in mosh pits and stuff like that. We all know is what it's like being there. A lot of people can look at it and be like, hey, that's really aggressive, and it's like, man, unless you know the culture, like,
right? I mean, you reach down, you pick the guy the guy falls, and you reach down, you pick him up, and you go back.
100%.
There's no
100%,
angst or anything there. It's everybody for the same reason, and I think the metal community too is something that's very supportive of that and sort of tight knit, no matter where you are in the world, right? I mean, everybody sort of bonds over this riff or this aggressive music, but not necessarily aggressive people. And your case in point.
Yeah. It's, you see it a lot on tours. It's like you kind of get used to like your sort of your tribe, your echo chamber of people all thinking and being the same type of people, and then when you go out on tours and you go across Europe and stuff like that, like we were bumping into people who were relating to my lyrics and talking about how they lived through the same things,
right?
And like they could see the hidden meaning in the lyrics, because I'm not very, this happened, and because of this happened. I kind of like paint around it and be like, tell a story that weaves that only someone who could maybe have experienced that themselves could see what I was pointing at. And people live in like the Czech Republic and Belgium and Germany, and they all come over and they've got this story. It's like, wow, it's everywhere. It's like it's.
You ever feel you've put too much of yourself into a song?
Yes, all the time. Let's
rephrase that then. Have you ever had to pull back and say, no, I can't do that? Or do you just go for it and feel vulnerable, and that just adds to it?
Seas of Despair was we on the last EP on Chronos. It's about my grandmother who passed, and during the writing process of that, I went as deep as possible into the guilt and the regret and all the things you go through when you're mourning, and I penned it, the darkest and deepest thoughts of that stuff. And then the label like, this is going to be the single push, this is going to be the video, and I was like, oh my god, like the lyrics are all on the YouTube, and and all the reviews were like mournful song talking of loss and stuff, I guess. And before going out, I did have a moment where I was like, man, like,
what did I do?
But I've been quite lucky to have had experiences where I've been in different countries and people have been like, hey man, this song has really helped. We've had messages on our page.
And that's got to be the ultimate payoff too, right?
It's the reason of doing it. At the end of the day, it's not for me. It's for the listener. And that's
so something that you penned in your living room, in your underwear or whatever, is connecting with somebody in India in their living room. And I guess that's amazing.
And it's for them, I think. And it's you got to kind of detract from that if you want to be an artist. If you're trying to, growing up in the music scene, I was always into the Whitechapels and the Suicide Silences and all these bands, and their music helped me through a lot of dark times. And I guess as I was developing as a musician myself, I was like, I wish I could do that too. So when I do write something that's really gets to me as a point of being like, oh man, like this is too intrinsic. And then I've got to remind myself of why I'm on this journey to begin with. And it's just to try and help people how I've been helped by music.
Yeah. And you mentioned Suicide Silence. I mean, I don't think there was anybody who did this sort of genre better than Mitch.
The king, the original king.
The original king, right?
Yeah. And then, I mean, even when there was the likes of Bozeman, who I gravitated more towards with his vocal style, just as a character, as a person, Mitch, I think was like, he was the king.
I was lucky enough to do an interview with him back on, I don't know, they played, it was called Mayhem here in the States.
I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to, I don't know what it was, 2015, 14, whatever it was. I was lucky enough to do an interview with him. And he was like the shyest guy, the most quiet, humble dude playing with his little dog, and kind of even wouldn't look up at the camera, just super soft-spoken.
Wow.
And then, just 15 minutes later, he's like ripping the face off of everybody.
Letting out the other side of it.
Yeah.
I feel it, yeah. I'll walk around in my nice hoodies and we'll do shows where I'm screaming and growling and stuff. And then after the show, I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to get some air and I'll go look for the moon and I'll go chill out for a bit. You know what I mean? And
right.
I think majority of the people are like that. I've met. I've got a bit of it. That
dichotomy is really interesting when you take a step back and look at it.
Yeah. A lot of people like
really
to
one extreme to the other.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I don't know. I think I'm not much into the drinking and stuff like that. So when I'm touring with other bands and I see them drinking, I kind of think, maybe this is their way of letting loose and stuff like that. And my way of letting loose is just being at peace and going to chill somewhere and sit with the ducks in Amsterdam. Like,
I get that. I like to get out in the woods with the dog. That's where we go.
Hell yeah. And then
lost in the woods somewhere for the day.
It's get lost and found again, buddy. It's the best. Yep. And and then you'll find someone like that on the road as well. And you're like, it's just like, wow, you only find this in this genre. I mean, speaking from experience, I could be wrong,
I think you're right, though. I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
And, we talk to a lot of people and everybody's got that same sort of thing in common, especially in these more extreme metal genres. That real, I don't know what the word is, up front and in your face on the stage, but off stage, they're the first person hanging out in the woods somewhere without a cell phone and just a dog or whatever.
Yeah, man. There's the common meme that they have of like the angry dog when he's like death metal vocals on stage, and then it's like cute puppy when he's off stage, and it's like, hell yeah, man.
Or the black metal dudes that are lost in the woods somewhere.
Best one.
Yeah. So what do you guys have planned? Are you taking this on the road?
We originally, we had an American tour booked for it was meant to be this month, I believe, but it fell through. So I guess that needs to be rescheduled at some point. Taking the time to write again. You know what I mean? It's like if we're not touring, we're writing. So we're just keeping ourselves busy all the time, man. Just churning out some new material. I think Chronos, like I was saying, having the opportunity to experiment a little bit, and then the nice response allowed us to just be like, hey man, let's just keep the ball rolling. Let's try some new things. Let's be creative.
Are you one of those bands that's always writing?
Always doing something, man. Always doing something. Like all day. Like we're in different WhatsApp groups for different purposes, and they're just going all day. It's what we chose to do with this life. You know what I mean? So we might as well. We'll work jobs, and then we'll do this on the side until this becomes a full-time job. So.
And even if it doesn't, you're still expressing yourself and doing your thing.
Hell, it's been a great journey so far, man. Right. I've had a great time. So whatever happens, man.
Yeah, that's what I say too. I mean, I do this. This isn't my full-time job either, and I do it just because for the love of music and meeting people and chatting about common things, and it goes where it goes. But yeah, I 100% feel you. It's it's part of you. I think once the music gets a hold of you, you can't do anything else but it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think go ahead?
Go ahead. No, I think it's. I'm trying not to be weird with the way I say this, but kind of with the music, it's kind of like a soulful journey for me now. I think throughout life, this will always be the purpose, and I guess I wouldn't want anything else from this life, obviously, to do this.
Right.
But I think if I had another hobby, I would probably dedicate to that just as intently.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is a lifestyle. I 100% agree. But I also think, from the outside, people don't really understand. I
think the problem mostly is, I don't want to be that guy about, but the mainstream media doesn't really pay much attention to the alternative community because it's a small community. You know what I mean? It is a small niche. You know, like we talk about. I mean, Lorna Shore in particular just broke like 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify or something. And that is absolutely ridiculous. That is, and then you put it next to like the likes of Little Mix and Rihanna and all those likes, and it's nothing.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, and this is Lorna Shore. That's the biggest. You know what I mean? So you've got to be fair to it. You know what I mean? And I think with us as musicians as well, we've got to be fair too to what we can expect from this lifestyle. You know.
And I know what I was in the middle of saying before we got disconnected. Everyone's got like a gateway song or band that got them into this sort of lifestyle or this. Like for me, it was Ozzy Osbourne's Diary of a Madman. I was in junior high school, walked into a record store, didn't know anything about anything, and saw this record on the wall. I was like, all right, cool, it looks great. And you know, the first 5 seconds of Over the Mountain just totally hooked me. And here I am, whatever it is, 40-something years later, you know, still looking for more heavy music or aggressive music. It's in my. What was yours?
I mean, first off, that shows the power of the product, of the album cover, of the everything in total. You know what I mean? You don't get.
I literally knew nothing about Ozzy Osbourne or any of that.
Hell yeah!
I just saw the record cover and went, "Holy shit! I gotta have that."
That's the one.
It could have been the worst.
Too. Yeah, it could be, but it was enticing. It looked good. You know, it's a total product. It was great. I had two. My first jump, because my parents were into like Whitesnake and like the hard rock stuff, you know. So I had a little bit of it, and I still listen to that stuff now. But I loved wrestling growing up, and I was watching WCW, and Bill Goldberg was coming to the stage, and Megadeth were on stage playing Crush 'Em. So I went to the record store and got that album. It was all right. But the album was called Risk, and it had a bonus disc in it called the No Risk disc, and on that was like Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Peace Cell, Symphony of Destruction. So I was like, oh, this album's all right. Then I put that on, and I was like, oh my god,
like, that's actually better than the whole record.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? So like, my old man was like, hey, because I used to play guitar, I used to play fingerstyle classical and blues and stuff like that. And my old man was like, hey man, if you want to play that shit, you need to learn how to use a plec. Here's a plec. And I was like, all right, here it goes. And then I started into the thrash and the metal, and that was me.
The whole rabbit hole from there, right?
Yeah, and then my next jump was All Shall Perish's Deconstruction was on MTV2 Headbangers Ball, and that was my first introduction to deathcore. And I saw that, and I was like, what is this? And then that was it.
I mean, I didn't even get into the core stuff or that heavy stuff until I don't know, 10 years ago. I think it was Suicide Silence. I saw them on a Warped tour, like just happened to come across them and was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it's great. It's ticked all the boxes, especially the next All Shall Perish. Yeah, the energy of it. I mean, that's what got me. I saw the music video for that. Like they go into this breakdown, and it's got like it's like everything's ringing out, and you see the room opening, and then the pit happens, and I'm like, what is that? I want to be there. Right. I want to be there. And then like you feel it for yourself the first time.
All Shall Perish is Eddie, right? Was that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, he was really good. I saw him too a few times. Really good.
Yeah. I mean, on this record, this Hate Malice Revenge, this was before Eddie. They had a different vocalist then. He was a lot more guttural. He was all rather than all the super highs that like Eddie could do. So I'd never heard anything like it. And then once I got into that, I was like, oh, let's check these out. Went on MySpace, Suicide Silence's Destruction of a Statue. Right. With the video, and I was like, that's it. I'm in.
That's crazy. Yeah. So, and it's funny how it just gets you, and you look for more and more aggressive stuff as you go along.
Yeah. I mean, I would listen to like Mortician and Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that, but it didn't have the like, it's those breakdowns, man, that got us.
It is the breakdowns.
It was just, that was it. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you one more question before I let you go. But when you guys are writing, are you writing like how the song is going to come across on stage? Because we're talking about breakdowns, right? So are you writing, hey, this is a good spot for a breakdown and the crowd's going to go fucking wild? Or are you just writing a song and then adapting it?
I used to. A lot of Terra Firma, which were our first record. I used to write with the envisioning of like, how would a crowd interpret this song live? And I would imagine myself as a listener listening to this song being like, I want to throw down here. I want a two-step here.
Right.
I want to pit here. Like, I need to take a breath.
Right.
Now I can pit again.
Whatever,
and
right.
then like, yeah. And then I would write doing that. But I think the lads, like Andy and Keeban, I can't really explain much on their writing style, but the spaciousness of Osiah, as it's turned out to be, it's never deviated far from the path that it was before. So it still serves the audience, and more importantly to us as musicians, serves us on a technical basis that we are trying to push ourselves as musicians at the same time and try and make it a little bit more difficult each time, and then so regardless of like how the instrumentals put to me, I as the vocalist can then be like, okay, I can do my bit to try and serve the interpreter of being like, maybe the listener would like to hear this now. Maybe you'd want a call out here.
So I know I said that was the last question, but now I've got more. Are you guys thinking about not writing the same record? Does that make sense? I know you have to stay in your like wheelhouse, your fans, but you don't want to write necessarily the same record, right?
Never. I mean, every album's very different so far.
Intentionally, or does it just happen that way?
Both.
Okay.
That's a terrible response. I'm sorry.
No. But
it's kind of it's a kind of bit of both. I think with Terra Firma, like there's a lot of down tempo elements and stuff like that because I was listening to a lot of that back then, and I was inspired by a lot of them, and I was like, this is the definition of heavy. And then I think on Kingdom of Lies, we try to clean everything up and make it a little bit more commercial. And then when Loss happened, it was during the pandemic. Right. So it was a cross of the two albums, but with more despair and aggression and stuff like that. And during that process, we kind of found Osiah's sound. And I think through the records, we've been chasing who Osiah is. Like, not as who we are, but as the product that we are creating is. We're close. I don't know if it's this one, but it's close. There. It's close. It's so very close, man.
When you said that record was full of despair, was that basically due to what we were all living through?
Oh God, yes. Yes, it got me through it. Yes. That and alcohol got me through that one, man. Like, I'm not a drinker, but alcohol and Loss, that album, I just poured it all out on that. It's horrible being home alone with just the mind, as I healed on a lot of stuff at the same time. I'm very happy to say, I went through a lot of trauma in my life, penned it out and had time to reflect on it. I remember after we released the record, I read through the lyrics again and I shed a tear being like, holy shit, like this is what I used to think.
Right.
Like,
and you're a lucky one that you got out of it, right? Because there's a lot of people that didn't.
And I hope, and this is what I say about people who interpret it as well. Sometimes people can hear it and be like, never thought about that. And it's also nice to know that someone else kind of thinks that. Right. So
music definitely got us all through those dark times, I think. And I also think, and we talk about this a lot on the show, that you're going to see a lot of, I think there's going to be like a renaissance in the arts in general, not just in music, because everybody was locked up and alone and funneling all their energy into like staying creative or working on their thing and polishing their thing, right? And now it's released to the world in the last year. No, I'm seeing some of the best records I've ever seen from some people.
Hell yeah.
Not even just in music, like in art and everywhere. It's like this crazy explosion.
The social media is doing a huge push on it at the moment. I don't know if you've seen quite a lot of this, but the merch cuts issue of bands and venues getting taxed to hell with merch cuts and stuff like that. I did see
that. Yes, and people are stopping to sell merch. Right?
Yep,
hey, go to my link and I'll sell it to you there.
Yep, and social media's pushing this. They're trying to fight for it. They're trying to get the artists more money. It's like there's stuff moving. It's moving for the better, and we're all in this weird cost of living crisis thing now. But I think we might work together and get through this for the art.
I hope so, because I just saw that, or maybe just recently, Anthrax had to cancel their whole European tour because of diesel prices.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Yeah, they canceled everything, and that was their reason. Maybe there's other reasons, but I mean, if a band like Anthrax is worried about diesel,
I can believe it.
How does the average guy get it?
I can believe it. Like, it's the tour bus prices and all that stuff, and merch cuts and stuff like that. You had the diesel on top, and
yep,
man, and Anthrax
and the merch cuts and all that other stuff. Yeah, I mean, you just keep digging right into the artist's pocket, right?
Anthrax are big, man. That's brilliant, but yeah. We all just got to do it in little vans.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've got. I ran up against my questions. Is there anything I missed you want to cover?
I'm all good, man. I'm just happy we got through this with all the technical.
I am so sorry about all that stupid shit.
No, I'm totally fine with it, man. You can edit and do whatever you want with
it. It'll all be
nice
edited and it'll look flawless, but you'll be sitting there going, wham, what a jackass. It was all a mess. But
not at all. If you ever want to do this again, my friend, I'd be more than happy to. Maybe after the next record is out or whatever, I'd be more than happy to do this again.
Sweet. Yeah. So, we'll keep. Yeah. Any plans to come to the States at all? Is that way too cost prohibitive?
We want to with every ounce of our being.
Right.
So it's like we just need to make it happen. So
right, cool. And fans, if they want to find you, Osiah?
Yeah, but just give us a search. I believe so. Yeah, I'm unfortunately not the guy that knows the most of this.
That's fine.
But you can find us by just OSIAH, Osiah. It's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Again, thanks for hanging with me through all the bullshit.
My pleasure, my dude. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
You do the same. Be well. Good luck with the record.
Goodbye, my friend. Thank you.